We want the young to focus and start to love boxing and start to training. This is good for everyone.
His Excellency's already announced September back at Spurs. You know, we have an agreement for that second fight. We've got to have a think about it. You know, Conor's saying, I want revenge, I want this, and it's the biggest fight. I mean, it's massive.
The boxing world's curiosity has been satisfied as Turki Alalsheikh has officially announced the highly anticipated rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., scheduled for September. Speaking on the announcement, Conor Benn admitted he wants to settle the score with Eubank Jr. in the rematch. He acknowledged the fight was very close, and although he wasn't hurt or outclassed, he couldn't quite pull the trigger. Now, he's determined to avenge his loss when they meet again.
But it was painful. And it was just, if it was as close as people were saying it is, that's what's painful. You know, because I weren't outclassed, you know, I weren't hurt in there. I just couldn't get the finish. I just couldn't pull the trigger and keep it moving. You know, I'm known for having my opponent hurt and getting the finish. So it's one of them things where it's like, do I avenge the loss? Do I drop back down to 147 and win the WBC world title? If Barrios is watching, you know, I love that. But I feel like this one's it's frustrating because I feel like I just want to settle this.
Meanwhile, regarding the rehydration clause being discussed for the rematch, Eddie Hearn expressed his view that Chris Eubank Jr. should move down a weight class rather than Conor Benn moving up. He also pointed out that Eubank Jr. has not been up to the mark in terms of managing his weight in the lead up to this fight.
Yeah, I think maybe Junior should come down a little bit lower rather than Conor Benn coming up 2 weight classes. You know, I was baffled. I mean, we knew Chris Eubank's weight all week. Right, I knew it at the check weight, I knew it the day after, we knew what he woke up this morning, and he was absolutely spot on this morning, and he was fine. Yesterday, he was tight at the weight. He's always tight at the weight. He's made it the last 5 times, he messed up, he got there an hour late, he could have made it comfortably, but they just ballsed up. Now that's it. No one ever said, apart from his dad, do you think it's dangerous for Conor Benn to be moving up 2 divisions and fighting someone the size of Eubank?
Eddie also raised concerns about the terms of the contract for the rematch, emphasizing the risks Conor Benn faces by going up against a naturally bigger opponent. He stressed the importance of being cautious with the contractual details, as he doesn't want Benn to jeopardize a potentially long career by taking unnecessary risks at this stage.
For me, the danger was not for Chris Eubank Jr. The danger was for Conor Benn, and that's why we've got to think very carefully about the rematch. Because I don't want to see him in too many fights like that. You know, it's all very well us sitting there and going, wow, what a fight, let's do it again. They're the kind of fights that will shorten your career. And he's got such a long career ahead of him. So, you know, the terms are already agreed for the rematch, with, you know, to move forward. And it's the same as the first contract in that respect. So I think we got it spot on with the numbers.
At the same time, Teddy Atlas commented on the punishment Chris Eubank Jr. endured during the fight, suggesting that he won't recover quickly. Regarding the rematch, he emphasized that both Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. should be given ample time to rest and recover, both physically and mentally, before moving forward with the bout.
Eubank won't be better. When you're at 34 years of age and you take that kind of punishment, first of all, you better make sure they both get a lot of rest and get the appropriate time off before you think about a rematch, if there is going to be a rematch. That's the first thing. Give them time to recover physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Let them recover.
Surrounding this, Teddy went on to criticize Chris Eubank Jr., noting that his legs appeared to show signs of aging during the fight, a reflection of his advancing years. He acknowledged, however, that while Eubank's body acted like a soldier, it was his mind, the general, that gave him the confidence to keep going.
You could see the legs getting old with Eubank in the late rounds where he had to stay on the inside and couldn't stay on the outside. You could see that. But the thing that kept it from going bad was his heart, his mind, his resolve. That at the end of the day, I always used to say, and always do say, that the body is the soldier The mind is the general. The general, Eubank's general, his mind told that soldier, no, you're not stopping.
Atlas emphasized that the physical punishment Eubank endured, along with the flaws in his performance, will require time to recover before even considering a rematch. Despite his criticisms, Atlas praised Chris Eubank Jr. for delivering a phenomenal performance and ultimately securing the victory by sheer determination.
You're going to keep marching. You're going to keep marching. I don't know how many marches he has left in him, though, because when you take that kind of punishment, they both took a lot of punishment. And again, at the age of 34, showing signs that his legs were given, but his mind just forced the legs to go that extra bit. I don't know that you can go back to and have as much physically left.
Meanwhile, Spencer Oliver has been vocal in his view that the performances of both Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn have already proven their worth. Echoing this stance, Steve Collins suggested that Conor Benn should pursue the WBO title instead of focusing on a rematch, which he believes would serve merely as a payday.
What do we expect to happen next for both of these guys? We spoke about it on the radio show.
Well,
so what are you thinking, Spence?
Listen, do you know what? I see what I'm thinking. I think that obviously Conor Benn's stock has rose. We know that he can compete at world level. He stepped up 2 weight divisions, and he's done that. And we just got people walking straight through the shop, but that's fine.
Oh, go ahead,
because we
okay.
understand. Yeah, go on number 3. Why not? Anyway, yeah, you just look at that and you just go like, yeah, his stocks rose. Does he go back down to 147? From a selfish point of view, I want to see it again because it was a great fight. But that's taken a lot out of Chris Eubank Jr. He's 35 years of age and he's had a long, hard career.
I want Ben to go and win a world title at welterweight.
Conor should go and get himself a world title. You know, the rematch is a payday, but get yourself a world title and
proved he's world class tonight, didn't he?
And he has the talent.
Despite all the differing opinions, His Excellency Turki Alalsheikh has emphasized the importance of a rematch, highlighting the electric atmosphere at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where 65,000 passionate boxing fans created an unforgettable night. Alalsheikh expressed his desire to bring the fight back to the same venue. Speaking to the Ring's Mike Coppinger, he said, "If they're not injured and ready, we want the rematch in late September at Tottenham. The British fans were amazing and I thank them." Emphasizing the importance of combat sports, Turki Alalsheikh spoke about its positive impact, particularly in steering youth away from harmful paths like drug use. He expressed his satisfaction with the performances on display and highlighted how promoting boxing can offer a powerful alternative for young people. He added that the upcoming rematch now focuses on a reinvigorated Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, both heading back into training with renewed purpose.
We want the young to focus and start to love boxing and start to training. This is good for everyone. We don't want smoke, we don't want drugs, we don't want anything catching the young generation except sport.
Confirming the development, Eddie Hearn stated that the announcement has been made and the deal for the rematch is already in place. He also expressed concerns, particularly stressing the importance of Conor Benn eventually aiming to win a world title at 160 pounds. Hearn criticized Chris Eubank Jr., calling him unprofessional for missing weight, but despite these issues, he acknowledged that British fans are eager to see the rematch happen.
His Excellency's already announced September back at Spurs. You know, we have an agreement for that second fight. We've got to have a think about it. You know, Conor's saying, I want revenge, I want this, and it's the biggest fight. I mean, it's massive. But you don't want too many fights like that, and we're giving away advantage up here at 160. He's coming up 2 divisions, and, you know, I still stand by. No one's really said pre-fight, oh, is it safe for Conor? Is it, you know, everyone was worried about Eubank, and Eubank was fine. He messed up the weight because he was unprofessional. The hydration was fine for him. And he went 12 hard rounds in there tonight. Don't worry about him. I worry about my man. And I know that Conor Benn can win world titles in divisions below 160. He can sell out any arena in the country. He's one of the biggest, not just boxing stars in Britain, sports stars in Britain now. The story, everything. So he's got a long career ahead of him.
On the other hand, Spencer Oliver dismissed the idea of a rematch, suggesting instead that Conor Benn should pursue a fight against Mario Barrios, believing he could comfortably win the title at 147 pounds. Responding to Gareth A. Davies, Adam Catterall acknowledged that Jaron Boots Ennis is a dominant force at 147, but still praised Conor Benn for shaking up the division with his latest performance.
On that performance, Conor Benn beats Barrios for the WBC title at 147, no problem at all.
Does he beat Boots Ennis? No. Listen, Boots is at 147. He's a supreme fighter. But what Conor Benn's done tonight, he's rose his stock. Coming into this, on paper, I was looking at this tonight thinking there's no chance. There's absolutely no way that he can live with the size of Eubank and where Eubank has been at previously. He's come out tonight and he showed new wrinkles to his game.
Echoing a similar sentiment, Michael Buffer suggested that both fighters should move forward rather than revisit the rematch. He proposed that the best path ahead would be for Chris Eubank Jr. to compete at 168 pounds, while Conor Benn should focus on capturing a world title at 147 pounds, an outcome he described as the ideal scenario.
No, I think they each should move forward. Chris fighting at 168 and Conor at 147. I think that's where their future is for both of them.
Adam Catterall, dismissing the idea of a rematch, argued that Chris Eubank Jr. is finished at 160 pounds and should instead move up in weight to challenge Canelo Alvarez. Meanwhile, he praised Conor Benn for proving himself through sheer determination and grit, suggesting that Benn should drop back down to 147 pounds and pursue a world title, a move he believes would be even more remarkable.
And doesn't mean that now going in, when people are starting talking about rematches and doing it all over again, that we should all just forget about the safety aspects of the sport. Chris Eubank Jr., for me, is done at 160. He should be moving up in weight and he should be chasing down a fight with Canelo. That's what he should be doing. From a Conor Benn point of view, the evidence that I saw at the weekend, even though there's guts, determination, and a fantastic, he comes away with a lot of, he stopped rising out the fight, no doubt in my mind about that. But my conclusions are, he's not a 160. I'd even forget about 154. If he can get down to 147 safely, that guy's changed my mind as to whether he can become a world champion. I think he can. I think he can go down there, and I think he can beat the likes of the Barrioses of this world.
Adam also pointed out that with this fight, the chapter between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is now closed. In his view, both fighters delivered a tremendous spectacle, and it's time for Conor Benn to move on and fight for a world title. He also emphasized that Chris Eubank Jr. is a big enough name to face Canelo Alvarez next. Whether he wins or not is a separate discussion.
I think the chapter is closed. They lived up to legacies, there's no doubt about that. They've exceeded my expectation with what I saw at the weekend. They gave us a fantastic spectacle. The chapter for me is now closed. And they both got positive momentum coming out of the fight, and they can go in different directions now. And who knows, maybe achieve something incredible. Conor, I think, genuinely could challenge for a world title at 147, and I think the Eubank name is big enough to command the Canelo fight. Whether he beats him or not, listen, that's a different debate.
Agreeing with Catterall's stance, Simon Jordan also weighed in, noting that the fight was truly a tremendous spectacle and that both fighters have already secured their payday. He went on to criticize Eddie Hearn, expressing concern over the push for a rematch and accusing him of being irresponsible in his handling of the situation.
But then no one. If Eddie is indeed making that point, which I somehow doubt that he really is, if he is, then it's irresponsible. They've had their payday. The level of remuneration for this fight was absurdly big for the level of fight that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And marketing, promotion, outstanding. Everyone's made their money. There's not a single thing about what Adam has said that anyone should be disagreeing with.
Meanwhile, Nigel Benn has been outspoken about wanting to see an immediate rematch. He also addressed the weight concerns surrounding Conor Benn, suggesting that instead of dropping down to 147 pounds, Conor should remain at 160 pounds and face Chris Eubank Jr. in the rematch. He expressed confidence in his belief that Conor Benn would emerge victorious in the rematch.
The rematch is immediately what you want to see.
Yeah, I think, go for the rematch, yeah. No point in going back down to 147, stay at 160, get the rematch, win the rematch.
Voicing his eagerness to see a rematch, Chris Eubank Jr.'s trainer, Jonathan Banks, also weighed in. He noted that the rematch has been widely discussed by both parties, even more so than the initial fight itself. Banks expressed his hope that the rematch will indeed happen, and he remains confident it will take place for sure.
It's possible. They already talked about it. They talked more about that before they did this fight. So it's possible. I can't say for sure, but it's possible.
With Turki Alalsheikh's official announcement confirming the rematch, the stage is set for one of the most anticipated bouts in boxing. Will Conor Benn settle the score, or will Chris Eubank Jr. prove he's still got it? Everyone's weighing in and the excitement is building. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe for all the latest updates on this thrilling rematch. Until next time, stay tuned.